You know what sucks? When you click on a video for a recipe and they tell you that you need 15 different types of protein powder and 13 different types of sugar. Well, in today's video, I have developed a recipe that I would say is healthier, only about 240 calories per roll, and uses ingredients that we typically have around the house. There's a few exceptions, but I think that these exceptions are good for everyday baking. Okay, so first we're going to start by making a tangzhong. All this is part of the liquid and part of the flour out of the dough that is slightly cooked together into a thick paste, and this keeps the dough very soft. I highly recommend. Okay, so while the tangzhong is cooling, we can go ahead and get all of our dry ingredients mixed together. We are going to be using a mixture of bread and all-purpose flour. This is to preserve the softness while giving just a slight pull-apart texture. I am also adding a little bit of milk powder, and this is to help with a richer dairy flavor, and it also helps with browning since this is a lower fat dough. It will definitely need it. If not, they will be very pale. It is optional, but I highly recommend. Alright, after all of the dry ingredients have been acquainted together, we can go ahead and start adding all of our wet ingredients. The Greek yogurt in this recipe helps keep the rolls very moist and tender. I also keep about 4 tubs in my refrigerator at all times, so it's something that I can easily incorporate. Now we just let this go until it is slightly tacky and most of the ingredients have been incorporated. Now it's not going to be a super smooth dough yet because we haven't added our butter and we did not work it enough. So we want to go ahead and turn it back on and add some of our butter back in, and then we want to mix it until it is very smooth and elastic. This should take roughly 8 to 15 minutes. I did not show this on camera, but while that dough is forming, we can go ahead and get a bowl lined with a little bit of oil ready so that whenever the dough comes out, we can plop it into that bowl and then we can form it into a nice round ball. And after the ball is formed, we can cover that with plastic wrap and let it rest for about an hour. And while we are waiting on our dough to rise, we can go ahead and get some of our other prep work out of the way. So, as our dough rises, we decide to go ahead and make our filling and our frosting. The filling here is super easy. All it is a combination of yogurt, butter, brown sugar, granulate sugar, milk powder, cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of vanilla extract. Just mix it all together until it forms a paste. Mine in this video was a little thick. If yours is also a little thick like that, I would recommend adding just a splash of milk just to make it slightly more easier to spread onto your dough later. Also, try to ignore the urge to just eat this stuff plain, as it is very good. Next up is our frosting, and our frosting is even easier than our filling. All it is yogurt, some powdered sugar, and cream cheese. I use a 3rd fat cream cheese, but if you want to make it a little bit more fattier, more richer, you can use full fat cream cheese. I just prefer a 3rd fat. Also add salt and vanilla extract as well. And just give it a good old whisk until there's no clumps remaining, and then transfer it to a bowl and put it into the refrigerator. And again, try not to eat it before it gets to the refrigerator. And so the time has finally come that our dough has risen double. Mine has probably tripled in this video, but double will work as well. All you want to do is put that into a floured work surface and roll it out. I think I rolled mine out to a 12 by 18 and a 1/4 inch thick. Now, it does not have to be perfect, but try not to have like super thin spots where it could possibly rip, and like super large mountains. I would also recommend, I do have the tape measure that I use is a baking only tape measure, so this is not used anywhere but the kitchen. I would highly recommend it for anybody that likes baking. It definitely, like any kind of laminated dough, it helps out a ton. Now, after you get your dough rolled out and you're happy with it, try not to mess with it too much, because you can spend an hour easily working on your dough to get it perfectly as a rectangle. So we're going to go ahead and start spreading our filling out from edge to edge everywhere but the top. That is so that whenever we close up the dough actually kind of sticks to itself. You also, whenever you cut these out, I did 3/4 of an inch. I would go no larger than 1.25 inches. I think that 3/4 of an inch is a perfect area though. Now, I am using a pizza cutter. I did see this and I wanted to give it a shot. It actually turned out really well, and I will definitely probably use that for my cinnamon rolls from now on instead of the dental floss or knife method. Now, when you go to roll these up, you want to make sure that you keep them nice and tight, but you also don't want to make them so tight that whenever they proof, the dough will not proof properly. If it is too tight, the dough will not puff out, it will puff more up or not puff right at all. I also like to wrap the little edge pieces under my dough. You don't have to do that. You can add a little bit of water or a little bit of egg wash to that top inch and just let it stick to the sides. Now, after your dough has been all rolled up and looking amazing, we are going to go ahead and cover that with a damp kitchen cloth and let that rest for about another hour. You will know that they are done whenever they are about doubled in size, and you can do the poke test on them. You just want to poke it and see if the dough slightly springs back, like 90%. You don't want it to spring back super fast or not at all. If it's super fast, they need more proof. If it's not at all, they are overproofed. After they are that ready, we are going to give it a slight milk wash before going into the oven. After the oven, we want to immediately brush with a little bit of butter, or you can also do milk if you want them to be even lighter than they already are. Now, while these are cooling for about 15 minutes before we put the icing on, try not to eat any of them. And while we are waiting that 15 minutes, I would go ahead and get your icing out of the refrigerator and let it come a little bit up to room temperature, just to make it a little bit more easier to spread onto the rolls. So, after you get all the icing on, it is the moment you have been waiting for the last 3 hours. I think it usually takes to make these 3 to 4 hours. Now I have my lovely wife beside of me testing these with me, and she absolutely loved these. These are very soft. They are delicate. They are not super rich like a bakery bun, but if you're craving something sweet and cinnamon rolly, I think it definitely hits the spot to where you only want like one of them, and then you're like, okay, I will save the next one for later. Alright, so while we munch on our cinnamon rolls, we will go ahead and end the video here. I think that this was a very good, successful bake. They turned out pretty much exactly how I wanted. They were soft and amazing. They were only, I think, 240 calories per roll. I think roughly 8 grams of protein. You guys can check the description for the macros and the recipe. I would highly recommend making these. If you guys did make these, please let me know down below in the comments. And if there's anything that you changed or would have liked to have changed about this recipe, please let me know as well. I am always up for making my baking better. And also don't forget to like and subscribe on this video so that I can show up to you more often whenever I have the ability to post videos. Thank y'all.